within the framework of the Safe Spaces project. First of all, I would like to tell you that we're going to record this meeting as it is in our obligations from the project. So I would like to inform each and every one of you about this transcription and recording. We're really delighted to welcome participants from different organizations and professional backgrounds today, including vocational education and training providers, youth workers, social organizations, and professionals working with migrant and refugee communities. Today, our webinar will focus on a topic that is becoming increasingly important across Europe and beyond. This is how we can create inclusive educational pathways and meaningful opportunities for young refugees, asylum seekers, and unaccompanied minors. Through our project, the Safe Spaces project, all the partners in the consortium were working to strengthen cooperation between youth organizations, educational providers, vet institutions, and of course, social support services in order to support the integration and empowerment of vulnerable young people. So before we begin, I would like to briefly present today's program. We will start with an introduction to our project and to the consortium. We will then hear from youth organization about the Safe Spaces platform and opportunities for engagement. And afterwards, we will explore with the Velos organization the project's methodology and all the good practices developed throughout this project. The second part of our webinar will feature two keynote speakers, Silvia Ganassi from Mundus Association and Federico Tibiello from Approformazione, who will share their valuable experiences and perspectives from the fields of inclusion, education, and vocational training. As a final part, we will open the floor for questions and discussion before concluding our today's webinar and the opportunity to join our Safe Spaces network. So thank you all for being here today. Let me share my presentation about the project overview and just a minute. Is it okay? Can someone reply that they see my screen?
We can't see it. No.
Perfect. Okay. So, to understand the importance of Safe Spaces project, we first need to understand the reality faced by many young people that are on the move today.
Sorry, Iliana, to interrupt. We're not seeing it.
Sorry. What about now?
Yeah, we can see it now.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. As I was saying, the first thing that we need to understand today is that to understand the reality faced by many young people that are on the move today. Across Europe, we continue to see increasing numbers and vulnerable young migrants and refugees and asylum seekers seeking for safety, stability, and opportunity for a better future. Among them, unaccompanied minors are particularly vulnerable. Many of them have experienced interrupted education, displacement, trauma, uncertainty, and significant barriers to entering education systems and labor markets. At the same time, these young people are with great resilience, with tremendous potential and aspiration. And the question is therefore not whether they have the capacity to succeed, but whether our systems are capable of providing the support, opportunities, and pathways they need to thrive. And this is where our project and Safe Spaces in general comes in. Our project was developed in response to the growing need for coordinated and inclusive integration models that connect protection, education, and employability. Safe Spaces is fully aligned with key European priorities, including the EU Youth Strategy, Erasmus Plus priorities on inclusion and diversity, and of course the European Youth Goals related to quality learning, social inclusion, participation, and well-being. For us, EVBB and the vocational education and training community, this topic is particularly important as vocational education is much more than preparation for employment. It can really serve as a bridge between vulnerability and opportunity, between exclusion and participation, and ultimately between dependence and autonomy. So by creating safe and inclusive learning environments, VET providers can play a central role in supporting young people as they build confidence, they acquire skills, and access meaningful employment opportunities. Our project specifically focuses on unaccompanied refugee and migrant minors between the ages of 15 and 25. These young people often face multiple challenges simultaneously, including interrupted educational pathways, language barriers, trauma, limited support networks, and difficulties navigating unfamiliar systems. Across Europe, we continue to observe gaps between protection systems, educational providers, and labor market actors. And as a result, many young people struggle to access tailored guidance and education, vocational and long-term integration, and employment opportunities. Safe Spaces seeks to address these challenges through a holistic and youth-centered approach. So the project brings together 7 organizations from Europe and Latin America, combining their expertise in vocational education, youth work, migration, social inclusion, and community support. Together, our consortium is developing an integration program that is flexible, modular, and adaptable to different national contexts. The project unfolds in 3 main phases. The first phase focuses on research and the creation of a common understanding of integration needs and existing practices. The second phase develops a dedicated training program and a methodology designed to support professionals working directly with young people. And the third phase focuses on implementation and the establishment of safe spaces in all our participating countries. Through this work, our project aims to create practical and sustainable pathways that support young people in their transition towards education, employment, and social inclusion. Our consortium combines expertise from really different sectors. EVBB is the coordinator and umbrella network which contributes expertise in vocational education and training. Open Europe, a non-profit organization that focuses on lifelong learning and European cooperation. BK Consult, a project management firm that provides quality assurance and educational innovation expertise. Youth, an organization which works extensively with vulnerable youth. Follow Me Association, who contributes its psychological and inclusion expertise. Velos Youth, an organization which operates directly with displaced young people in Athens. And Fundación Scalabrini, a veteran network that brings extensive experience supporting migrants and unaccompanied minors in Mexico. So our added value in vocational education and training. One of our key strengths of the project is that it has a really strong connection in supporting young people, not only academically, but also socially and emotionally. It helps address barriers such as mental health challenges, legal uncertainty, housing instability, and lack of guidance, all of which can significantly affect participation in education and training. At the same time, it supports VET providers by facilitating better learner profiling, personalized pathways, and improved retention and participation outcomes. Our integration program itself is built around 12 flexible modules that can be adapted to different local contexts and institutional realities. Particular emphasis is placed on career guidance, skills mapping, education and labor market integration, entrepreneurship, and active citizenship. These elements work together to create personalized pathways that help young people move confidently towards learning opportunities and employment. Another important aspect of the project is its European added value. Safe Spaces promotes cooperation between youth centers, VET providers, social services, and community organizations. It creates opportunities for exchanging practices, learning from different national experiences, and developing solutions that can be transferred and replicated across different countries. The project Safe Spaces also embraces innovation, especially through its flexible methodology. And rather than offering a one-size-fits-all model, it recognizes that every young person's journey is different, and therefore it provides multiple entry points and tailored pathways according to individual needs and aspirations. At the same time, quality assurance, continuous monitoring, and participant feedback ensure that the model remains effective, evidence-based, and sustainable. The integration of digital tools and blended learning approaches further strengthens the accessibility and the long-term sustainability of our program. And we are here today in order to have a call to action to the VET community, to the VET providers, education, and stakeholders, because we believe that here there is a unique opportunity to contribute to more inclusive education systems. And whether through mentoring or apprenticeships or training opportunities with young organizations, your engagement can make a tangible difference in the lives of these young people. In order to not carry on for too long, we have our final message that ultimately Safe Spaces is about creating connections, is about creating connections between education and employment, between protection and participation, and between organizations working together towards the same goal. Most importantly, we are here to form connections that help young people move from vulnerability towards autonomy, towards confidence, and of course, towards opportunities. Because we believe that integration works best when education, protection, and employment are connected, and because truly inclusive societies are built when nobody is left behind. Thank you very much for your attention. Let me stop sharing. Okay. So our next step is understanding how stakeholders can actively engage with the initiative through the Safe Spaces platform. So for this reason, I'm very pleased to give the floor now to Daria Voloshak. I'm sorry for...
That's fine. That's fine. The most important is the name.
Yeah.
The surname is fine.
Okay.
It's even not my
Okay.
husband, so that's fine.
Thank you. Thank you,
And,
Daria. The floor is yours.
Yeah, and thank you so much for introduction. And I think it's great to know a little bit more about the value of this project. And I think we all together, all the partners, we put so much effort to create what I will show now. I hope everyone can hear me well. So great, I could see the thumbs up. So my name is Daria and I'm part of Y Youth Organization. Before we'll jump into presenting the platform, I think we'll just go through all together. I really want to mention that our journey with the Y Youth was quite interesting because we were responsible for developing a methodology and the training program together with the partners where we were sharing the expertise and adjusting the educational program. So we took it in the very serious level with all of the information you will find on the platform that I will shortly will show you. And big thank you to Open Europe, because together with the Open Europe, we developed the platform itself where you can go, guys, and see and look through. So this is what is about the partnership and the ownership of the whole project. And I will share my screen now. Let's see. Yes, it's here. I hope you can see the tab. Can you see the tab now? Okay, can you, yes, okay. Now, because I can't see it, that I'm sharing it. Okay, is it, good. So if you go to the Safe Spaces web page, and you will find a very beautiful button which is called Become a Member. So I highly recommend and engage you to click on and join it. And then if you go under the project activities, you will find two important things for you, as well as the training curriculum methodology, where basically you click in here and you will find the detailed information, what was leaning behind, and the training program, which scientific approach in educational level for adults were implemented there. And it's covered in the different languages. So if you click here, then you will see that it's available in Spanish, Greek, English, and Bulgarian. And then if you click on the one, you will see that it looks like this. So it's basically the guideline, how you could approach and introduce the modules and the whole overview. I would say it's pedagogical and scientific standby behind the platform itself. And then if we go back, we click on the training program. As it was shortly mentioned before, that it divided into the 12 modules. Before you could see also the video, the introduction video that explaining what the modules cover, which pillars it's standing on, and I will just remind you about these pillars as well here. And what is interesting that these 12 pillars, so you can hop over and see a little bit more about the modules, sorry, not the pillars, but the modules, and the different colors reflecting different pillars. So you could see here that empowerment and inclusion pillar, you will find the modules with the same color, like in mapping, prevention of criminality, and the health. If we're talking about the education labor market pillar integration, then we see that it's mostly on education in the labor market and entrepreneurship, and the participation and community engagement pillar, which talk about the support and engagement. What is amazing about this course, and I would say about this platform, that these modules are interrelated to each other, but at the same time, they are very independent, which means that you could take any course, any part of the module in any order that you would like. So for example, if you want to dive deeply in and straight away into education and labor market integration, you just go and pick up the pillars like career guidance, education, entrepreneurship. And of course, we encourage to take all of the modules, because then you will provide, then you will consume much more knowledge in the different areas. But also, it's nice to start whenever you like, whenever it's more convenient and also appropriate with the topic you want to start with, according to the situation you are in. And what is also nice about all these 12 modules is that we were trying to make them, of course, they're different because of the content, but at the same time structure in a different way, integrating more pictures and the videos and the assessment parts, and of course, resources. So we can start, for example, with the career guidance. And we could see that we have the main title here, we have description of this module, we have the aim, we have the learning outcomes, which means what you're going to achieve when you accomplish this course. And then on the left side, we have the topics. And we start, for example, with the career guidance. What is this? What is this term? We also include different videos, which is explaining more. And what I really, really like about all the modules, we have self-reflection part. It will be marked with the blue spørsmål. It's in Norwegian, but in English it's question mark. I'm based in Norway, so that's why sometimes my Norwegian comes up. So I'm sorry for this. So with this question mark, for example, what are the values and the goals of career guidance? What are the phases of the career guidance process? So when you see this, it's good to just talk to yourself and reflect a bit on this, or discuss it with someone that you have to that you're taking course with. That helps you to create more interaction with the material and associations with your personal experience and the professional experience. Then it also includes different images that help you to perceive the information easily. Then you could also click here on the previous and the next, so you could kind of quite easily navigate through. And what I also really like, that we push so much towards this, to prepare real life instructional materials and the things that people could just go there and use it in their life context. And of course, as it was mentioned earlier, that the materials were also adaptable to different countries' context. And then we also have case studies, which means that you have enough time to go through the real life example of particular problem and evaluate it itself. You have also opportunity to download it if you really need. And then we have, every module has a case study and the practices, which means that you have great opportunity to put your knowledge into the practice. And then we have a summary conclusion that helps you, as I said, summarize the all mentioned above information and go through the assessment. We have different types of the assessment. We have open-ended questions, we have true or false questions, we have multiple choice questions. We try to make it more varied and kind of stay entertained, but I would prefer to use the word variety. And then if we just quickly go through, for example, let's take like the first one, information package, what it's about. And we have a kind of the same structure. We have introduction to every module, with every module having description and the aim. That helps you to set a quite good expectations of the module that you're gonna have. And some topics have subsections, so you just click over here on the left side. And I want to say a big thank you to Open Europe to being so engaged with developing images and the look and feel of the platform. We work quite hard on it, and we coming back and forth with the feedback of also different participants of development journey. So that was quite nice collaboration together, I would say. And also we have different sources like the audio in the module. So we try to make it very different from module to module. That would be interesting to dive into different ones and not focusing on it. And of course, last but not least, it's a reference list. I encourage everyone to go through reading list and references, because you can dive more into details on the particular area that you were interested in under each module. And of course, behind reading and the reference, you can find legal and the policy references, which means very useful links to particular, like for example, in our context, that would be law in the different like countries and different policies. So do not think that the last step of the course is the reference. It's nice just to skip because no one reads. No, I encourage you go till the end and read through the references, because there you can find the really useful resources, not that we're only using during the development of the content, but also additional materials for self-paced learning. And again, I encourage you to become a member and choose one of each path. And it's quite easy, just to click the button and then you'll become a member. I don't have any more information on this. I hope that our walk through the platform was quite in detailed and explanatory. Please do not hesitate to raise the questions, for example, now in the chat or further. We'll try to help and answer as much as we can. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Daria, and especially for this really helpful and constructive presentation of our platform. And now, if there are no further questions, also we will have a Q&A in the end for those who might want to think about it and raise any questions in the end. We will move forward with our methodological part, with our methodological foundation of the project. And I will give the floor now to Velos Youth, and Gina Psiliakou and Maria Detsika can share their screens and their presentations with you.
Thank you, Eliana. Let me share the screen. Hold on. There we go. Okay, can you see it? Opa, sorry. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
now we can
brilliant.
see.
Yes, we can. Yes.
So we had the task to do the methodology for the creation of the actual safe spaces, the physical spaces where young and accompanying youth, migrant youth, can go and seek support. We were asked this because we have 10 years of experience in running a safe space in the center of Athens, with thousands of young people pass through here. And through all these years, through our experience and the lessons that the young people themselves have taught us, we have established a really good way of working, which I'm going to share that with you now. So, yeah, I think, hold on a second. Okay. So the reality, as Eliana said before, the reality of refugee youth is that they probably left the country when they were very, very young. Their education has been disrupted. Some of them never had any real education. They've been through trauma and displacement. They're arriving in countries that most of the times the messages that they're getting is that they don't want them. As we've seen in the EU Parliament recently as well. So they're facing housing insecurity. They have limited support networks because they are here alone and they don't have any family, and their futures are quite uncertain. So what is a safe space? What its importance? The safe space, apart from the physical space where a young person can come and be safe for a few hours in a day, it creates it's a haven for those young people, because outside, usually in the world, they're being viewed as the stereotype, as all the labels that the society wants to put on them. They're not seen as individuals, they're not seen as people, they're seen as something else. So a safe space welcomes the young person as an individual. It gives them a sense of belonging. It gives them emotional support. It informs them about their rights, and it's there on their journey until they reach their goals, they reach their independence, or in any difficulty they're facing. There is a place of reference they can go back to seek support and safety. So it's not something that they would come for, one time and go. It's something that they will revisit and again, and there will be a relationship in. So in order to create a safe space, we have developed a 6-step framework, which we believe that in those 6 steps, you will have everything you need in order to open a safe space. The first one is a needs analysis. So who are the people that we're trying to help? Is it young men? Is it young girls? Is it LGBTQ? What is exactly the gap? Who are we trying to support here? What are their needs? Because you might not be able to support everyone. You might want to open a safe space for a very specific group. So what are their needs? What services already exist? So a service mapping is very important to do, and it will come in handy for other aspects of the running of the center. Like referral pathways and understanding in general the work. What's going on in the city. So first you need to do some research in order to not to open something that already exists, and this would also help you in when you are asked for funding. Then when they realize that you've done actually that is a real gap, and you are certain you're providing a real service that was not provided by anyone else, then it'll be easier to find some funding. Then designing the actual space. It has to be in a place where maybe there isn't a lot of places like this. I mean, in Athens, there's a couple of areas that are saturated with many organizations. We created the center a bit further away from that. It has to be accessible because easy accessible by foot or public transport, because a lot of those young people do not have the money, to travel very far. So it has to be somewhere where they can come. You need to as far as you can, not before you open the space, but when you open it and it's available to the young people, to include them in the way that it's shaped, the decoration, to put things in them so they can feel that this is their own place, a sense of ownership. And also to create it with a cultural sensitivity. So always have in mind who are your service users, the people that you're going to be serving. This is a space for them. It's not a space for you as an organization. It's a space for them. So you have to have them in mind in the whole process of this. So we have the space, we know what we're doing, how are we going to run the place? So policies and procedures, the ethos and the values of the organization is very important. And it will also, again, shape the way you work with young people. So a very important and basic kind of like policies that any organization that works with vulnerable groups is safeguarding and protection policy, confidentiality, code of conduct, what to do and not to do with the young people, data protection. If you're collecting data from young people, you need to have a policy on how you use this data, when you throw it away and stuff like that. If you have volunteers, again, a volunteer policy is very essential. And the last one, I mean, there's a lot of, in the methodology, we have lots of links where you can find really good examples of those policies. So you can build your own or just take ones that already exist. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. The admittance and reception policy is a specific one for kind of like community centers on how you let people in. So because you want to create a sense of safety and not just let everyone in without any control, because there's anything can happen, and you need to have some control in how and some rules in how you let people in. So the admittance and reception policy is about that. And also the ethos, what are the values of the organization? We had in Velos Youth, we have an open door policy, and we accept any young person. The only restriction we have is the age, so we accept anyone from the age of 16 to 30. And we have some restrictions about, if they have some sort of addiction or, something that is really heavy that might create a dangerous situation. That's the only exclusion we have. Everyone else is welcome to come. Step 4. So you have your policies, you have your space, you need your team. The most important people in a safe space is your social worker, who does your needs assessment and the referrals, connects the young person with all the services that the external services, and the youth worker, who can also be a culture mediator, who is usually a person from the community, that speaks the language, one of the languages of the young people, in order to be able to connect with them, to help them engage, to help them open up, to help them feel welcomed. So the youth worker, culture mediators are the eyes and the ears of the team. And the social worker is the one who is the responsible for the protection and safeguarding. Then depending of what you do, because you're not going to be able to do everything, you have teachers, you have an employability advisor. I would suggest a project coordinator is to have some sort of background, in one of those fields. Not just to be a manager, just to have like some sort of and a lot of field experience, so they can understand the job and be able to overview the whole team. And volunteers also are quite useful because they also bring some knowledge, and if they are coming from different countries, we have a lot of interns coming to Velos. That's really helpful because they can bring their own knowledge, different things every time they come. So it becomes more interesting and more interactive with the young people. So the next one, partnerships and referral pathways. You cannot do everything, so you need to have good partners. If the country you're in, the municipality and so, the local government is supportive, then you can work with schools, municipalities. In Greece is not, so we excluded that. But we have a lot of NGOs that we're working with. We have healthcare providers, cultural institutions that, provide, especially there are some centers that, about African culture. So we link some young people from there so they can have some sense of belonging and they feel a little bit more welcomed and connected with their countries and more welcome in this country. So it's important to have that link as well. And when possible, the refugee communities themselves, because they can be very supportive. So all these kind of like people, they can be your allies. All these different groups, they can be your allies in supporting the young people. And step 6 is the daily operations. How do we run the day-to-day center? And the one thing that we really need to be careful is to be consistent, to have very clear boundaries, to be honest with the young people, because young people can judge you, and if you're trying to be something you're not, they don't trust you, and gain their trust. Build real trusting relationships, and only then you'll be able to really support these young people long term. We have also built a case management. We meet every week to discuss cases in depth. We ask for their feedback in kind of like in our activities and our services, and we constantly adapt the way we work according to the needs, because the flows of the people that come here, they're not constantly the same, so they keep changing. So as the young people who come here change, we have to adapt and change the way we work with them and provide them the support that they need. So constantly be reviewing how we do things and ask ourselves whether we are really supporting and giving the young people what they really need. Okay, so the professional practice, so that part was the practical guide to open and run a safe space center. Okay. And then the methodology goes through the theories and kind of like the theory that we need in order to be able to run it and support the young people effectively. So youth work and social work, both of them create a very good package. They create the holistic support. With one hand, we have participation, empowerment, and informal learning from the youth workers through activities, through workshops, through anything that you can, creative things. And social work provides protection, the assessment, and the case management. But they are both very, very important in engaging with young people. Assessment and prevention is the second part. Assessment it's key because then we understand the needs of the people we are trying to support. We identify the risk and the challenges, and through these we can recognize the strengths in which we can build their resilience, in order for them to become independent. And with correct assessment, we can stop them from being exploited through the black market, kind of like jobs or trafficking, violence, social exclusion, insecure housing, mental health. So if we assess young people and understand their needs quickly enough, we can prevent them their life becoming worse. Intervention is the next part. Intervention is when we are doing either individual work or group work in order to prevent things from happening, like, we can do life skills, or we can do workshops about kind of self-awareness, mental health. We can do activities where all people come together and discuss things, just to get to intervene before things happen. We run a program where we trained young people to be mentors of gender-based violence, and we send them back to their own community to teach other young people, young men, about gender-based violence and open up this discussion. Now, we don't know if in these communities this is happening, but we wanted to open this discussion, to do an intervention to prevent things from getting worse, or opening the discussion with them. So intervention is very key in giving information and tools to prevent things. Okay, and the last part is holistic and ecological approaches. The holistic approach, I think a lot of us understand it, is that you don't address, each person is not just one problem, one issue that they have. They're not facing one challenge. You have to look at their life from many different aspects in order to understand where they are. The physical well-being, are they healthy? Are they feeling good within themselves? Are they going to school? Where are they living? What are their support networks? Do they have any friends? And their sense of belonging as well. When somebody is displaced, the sense of belonging and sense of self is very important. So this is, you look at a person from all different aspects, because they might have a job, but they might be depressed. So their depression will affect the fact that they might not have a job for much longer, or and then they will not have a house, and then so you have to look at everything together. And the ecological perspective is the external elements that influence a young person. So their family, their friends, their school, their community, the society they live in, all the pressures and the challenges that they receive from the external. So you look at the internal, the external. So the ecological perspective is about the external factors that might influence the young person's well-being. These are going hand in hand. So this is the last part of the methodology that we've written. You can find it on the website that Daria mentioned before, presented before. And the last part, which is about the implementation of the training and methodology and the feedback that we got from all the partners, will be presented by Maria, my colleague, if you want to join us.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. So as Gina said, we had produced the methodology, and then the idea was, the last part of the project was to have the methodology implemented to 4-day centers, one in Spain, one in Greece, one in Bulgaria, and one in Mexico, and to see how this works. So we had all the partners implementing the methodology for 6 months, and we received weekly inputs about what it works, what it didn't work. We did the changes. So I will talk about some lessons that we learned and recommendations, and then about some challenges that we faced, adjustments that we had to do. So what we found out is that one of the most important findings was that relationship building should remain at the center of our work. This is very important. Establishing trust and meaningful connection, as Gina said, with participants and with young people. It's one of the most crucial things in order, and that was clear to all the day centers that we received the feedback. We also learned that flexible and participatory programming significantly increases a lot the engagement and the trust. So when the participants are actively involved in shaping activities and decisions, they are more likely to feel ownership and motivation, and the sense of belonging can be increased. Another important lesson has to do with the well-being of the professionals. So trauma-informed supervision and ongoing staff support are very crucial in order to have sustainable services. Another thing is that partnerships with external organizations and stakeholders can strengthen referral pathways and enable the holistic response to participant needs. So they are super important. And in order to use it in the future, for future implementation, we have understood that practical facilitation tools and ready-to-use activities supports a lot professionals in applying the project methods effectively and consistently in many cases. Now, we came across several success factors. I will talk about some of them. You can see them on the screen also. The main was flexibility. We need to have flexibility in the implementation. We need to have interdisciplinary collaboration, strength-based practice, and a strong focus on building meaningful relationships. So these are 4 factors that we have seen that worked a lot in all the day centers that applied the methodology. At the same time, we had also some challenges that were identified. This included ensuring the sustainability of the activities, managing limited staff capacity. All of us are small day centers, maintaining long-term engagement for the young people. We know that young people come and go, so maintain the engagement, it was quite challenging. And responding effectively to the diverse and complex needs of the young people. Now, despite all these challenges, what we've seen in all the spaces are that it's extremely important to stick on the course principles, and that was something that we also suggest to all the people that will implement the methodology. So safety, participation, empowerment, and holistic support. These principles guided all aspects of the work and created the conditions for meaningful engagement and positive development. Finally, I would say that we can say that the methodology provides the roadmap for the professionals, offering a clear framework and guiding principles for supporting young refugees. And the training curriculum provides the vehicle, equipping professionals with the knowledge, skills, and practical activities needed to put these principles into practice. So these 2 combined can be used in order to create quite a safe space. A safe space, yes. Thank you. I hope I'm on time because I was a bit in a hurry. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria and Gina. We have fallen behind a little from our schedule, from our initial schedule. So I will quickly pass to our 2 keynote speakers who are really kind and are waiting for them to present their own cases. So we will begin with our first keynote speaker, and it is my pleasure to introduce to you Silvia Ganassi from Mundus Association. So I will not say anything more. Silvia, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. So, as Iliana was saying, my name is Silvia. I work as a project manager at Mundus, specifically in the team that manage project within the African continent. I joined Mundus let's say recently in August 2025. So there might be the possibility that not all of you are familiar with me, even though your organization have a long story of like work with Mundus. So today, can I share my screen or?
You should be able to, yeah.
Okay. Wait. Just a second because I need to find it. Okay. Okay, can you see it?
It's loading, but I think yes.
Yeah, I think it's going. So basically today I would like to share with you some, let's say, lesson learned or case studies that we learned as Mundus throughout our experience working with migrants, young migrants, and in general disadvantaged learners in VET, but not only in VET, through different projects that we managed. And we decided to select, can you see my screen moving? Wait. Now, yes. We decided to select 3 projects that are closed. So that's why like we decided to talk about this project because we implemented all the activities, so we saw the impact, let's say. And I don't want to present the project as initiatives and do a resume of the project. I mean, I will do it very briefly because of time and also because like I would like to highlight just the practical example of how inclusive approach can be integrated in education, training, and youth work, because these case studies are 3 types of projects: Skilling Ecovet, From Me to You, and My Story Maps. And these highlight 3 dimensions that are very relevant for inclusive VET and inclusive, let's say, in general, learning environment. So participation and social inclusion, identity, voice and empowerment, and information and informed decision making. So through this example, I would like just to share some insights, let's say, of our experience and of how VET providers and educators can better support learners that are vulnerable, so that face social, economic, or educational, let's say, disadvantage. Okay, so let's start with Skilling Ecovet. So Skilling Ecovet is the first project that I decided to present because also like this project was implemented in Ghana and Senegal by Mundus and other organization, and I was working in the organization in Ghana, so I know this project. It's an Erasmus Plus capacity building project that has the purpose of, let's say, improve the inclusion in the VET system, in the VET ecosystem. So the thing that I want to highlight that is interesting for this presentation is a training that was implemented by Mundus, and it was like a training workshop, let's say, related to international migration to Europe, because in the area in which one of the VET school was placed, there was a huge problem of it was a very disadvantaged area, so a lot of young students were trafficked to Europe. So there was this very, I mean, social big problem of people dying while going to the while trying to reach Europe. So we implemented in a participatory way this workshop that has the purpose of informing people, and also it was not of course, built by Mundus as European that, like, let's say in a vertical approach, give their point of view, but it was built in a participatory way by Mundus and by returning migrants that were there, and with the help of the trainers of the vet school and of some of my ex-Ghanaian colleagues that were facilitator and trainer. So the key lessons of this training was that information protects young people and help them making informed decision, reduce vulnerability, and avoid risky migration pathways. Also because one part of this training was like about, let's say, legal way of migrating to have a like real and safe opportunity to reach the European continent. And these are the photos and the resource online. Since it's a project that was recently concluded, there is still the website, and in the website there are all the resources. So you can find everything here. This is a link, so it's accessible to everyone. Then we decided to select another project that is called From Me to You, and is a project that was like closed a couple of years ago, if I'm not wrong, in 2019. This is like a project that was within the European continent. The program was Europe for Citizens, and the topic was migrants engagement in European context. So the challenge that this project, more specifically, because as I said, I'm focusing on one or two activities that Mundus managed in this project that are related to the topic of today's webinar. So let's say that when it comes to this project, it focused on participation, active citizenship, and intercultural dialogue. So basically create opportunity for migrants and social and local citizens to engage one to another, because I mean, through like the first phase of analysis of the project, the partners discovered, let's say, they analyzing the context of the countries that were involved, that there was this isolation of migrant social group. So the purpose was to create, let's say, workshop and brought migrants and local citizens together by using storytelling as a tool for dialogue, sharing migration experience and perspective, by reflecting on identity, integration, and belonging. So the main, let's say, key lesson were that participation creates inclusion, and that dialogues builds understanding, and of course that a right type of storytelling in which the vulnerable person is the participant, is the main character, let's say, reduce stereotype, and participation strengthen belonging. Wait. Okay. These are some of the photos, and unfortunately, since this is an, let's say, quite old project, the URL is not anymore available, but there is the final report here. So yeah, these were some of the activities. So art workshop activities and round table, in which there was this participatory approach between, specifically since Mundus is based in Zaragoza, since, like, let's say, participation and dialogue between migrants and other vulnerable group and local citizen. Another project, the last one that we selected, that was even, this one was like, I mean, closed, it finished, I think, in 2018. This project is an Erasmus Plus project that was in Europe, in the European continent. The idea was to support vulnerable people by doing storytelling and digital mapping, and the participant, like the purpose of this project was to make participants explore their personal experience and aspiration and life journeys through story maps, by also strengthening competence and communication skills and self-awareness. We did as Mundus some activities and some training related to basically, this is quite similar to the other one, sharing personal journeys, expressing identity and inspiration, and building confidence. And a specific target group of this project were like students that were at risk of dropout. That's why we have some photos, and in the first one, I mean, there is written that the activity is implemented in center. I don't know exactly how to translate it in English. It was basically an institution that was involved in this project that is in charge of like finding training opportunities for students that are at risk of dropping out. So we implemented these mapping activities by working with this institution, and of course a lot of students that were like in this program were migrants and other vulnerable group. And the online resources available are not a lot even for this, but there is this video that is the multiplier event that was managed by Mundus. And yeah, so when it comes to like the key takeaways that we can highlight, we can say that first of all, when it comes to, because these are like, I mean, the first one is different from the other two as experience of Mundus, but so let's say that we can highlight related to the first project, so Skilling Ecovet, that information protects, so provide reliable information and safe space to discuss migration, aspiration, and risks was the first key takeaways of the training implemented in the frame of Skilling Ecovet project by Mundus. Then when it comes to the other two projects, so From Me to You and My Story Map, the main key takeaways are that participation creates belonging, because I mean, often these kind of young people that are more vulnerable are not involved in activities and in community lives, and also that stories empower, because for the second project, one of the purpose of the roundtable and the workshop was an exchange between, as I said, like local people and migrants. And for example, there was an exchange of, I don't know, Spanish people were doing classes for free, and the migrants from Senegal was sharing recipes. So there was an exchange of time and, let's say, knowledge. So this was very important opportunities for self-expression, and it helps people strengthening their identity, confidence, and resilience. And of course, we can resume everything by saying that inclusion is a process. So support should go beyond protection and focus on long-term participation and empowerment, because I would say that the common point of these three projects and of these activities of this project is the fact that the vulnerable people, let's say, are at the center, so they're not like a passive subject, because even in the first training of Skilling Ecovet in Ghana, I mean, it was co-created, as I said. So yeah, that's it. That's a bit our experience, and I hope it was clear. And thank you very much. I don't know if you have question. I don't know a lot of details, especially related to the last two projects, because it's also a bit difficult to find resources. But I mean, if you have any curiosity, I can try to answer.
Thank you very much, Sylvia, for this insightful presentation and for everything that you have given us. Because we're really late now, I will proceed with our next keynote speaker, Federico Tupiello from Aproformazione. The floor is yours, and we're really sorry you might be last but not least, and we're really looking forward to your presentation also.
Thank you very much, Diana. Thank you for having me here and for the invitation. How late are we? Extremely. How much time do I have to?
No worries. You have 20 minutes to do so.
I can keep it short. Okay, 20 minutes.
Okay.
So nice to meet you all. I'm Federico Tupiello, and I work as International Research and Development Manager in Aproformazione. You should see my screen now. Yep. So today I brought this intervention called Inclusive Specialization in VET. And the intention here is to tell you a little bit what APRO does with migrants and with disadvantaged students in general. Let's start briefly by presenting you what Aproformazione is. Aproformazione is a vocational education and training provider based in Italy, Alba, so in the northwest of Italy, here close to France. And we are a very rural area, a lot of vineyards, a lot of mountain. So it's a bit of a peculiar place where to be, because on one side we are a very touristic area. We attract a lot of tourists for gastronomy and wine. On the other side, we are also a pretty big industrial ecosystem, because we have Ferrero, the Nutella factory that was born and still is, was founded and still is nowadays in Alba. And so together with Ferrero, a lot of other industries grown up. We were born in 1958 thanks to a priest that actually was the priest of the Ferrero family, who actually wanted to find a future for drop-off students. So he understood that in this growing area where the industrialization were growing very strong, dropout students and disadvantaged students had an opportunity to become part of the society. And so this is how we started. Nowadays we are a completely like organization, but still we do the same things that our founders started, simply in a different and more complex manner probably. So today we are a consortium of companies and public association, and within our consortium we have companies such as Ferrero, Ceretto, Mondo, Meroglio, and others. So we actually represent the company in our area. But, and I'm very glad to have that I heard many keywords during your previous presentation that are very much in line with what we do. And so this gives us the security that we are going in the right direction. Today, we don't talk about workers anymore. Workers is a part of the things that we do. So we create workforce, but we also train, educate citizens, and we talk more about human capital. And the focus on inclusion is still one of our priorities. We are a non-profit organization, and in our world it's very important to demonstrate the actual impact and value that we generate. So every year, these are the results of last year. We do it together with Deloitte. We try to calculate the generated value on our territory. So €1 invested in APRO generated last year €4.75 of real impact value. We are a relatively small school. We have 600 initial VET students, but we provide a series of services, and we arrive up to 5,000, 6,000 people per year. We train up to 6,000 people per year, and we work with more than 1,000 businesses. What is interesting here is that even though not even though, for the exact reason that we live in a pretty wealthy area, as VET providers, so as VET, we tend to be the last resort for the disadvantaged people, for the migrants, for the refugees. And so our 28% of students come from international background. Either they are migrants, they are refugees, or simply they are first or second generation migrants. And we also have a 13% of special needs students certified, but we know that this percentage together with the non-certified is way higher. This to say that inclusion is somehow inherited into that, in particular into Apo Formazione. This is a bit how we work. We are a school, let's say, we are a secondary school for students from 15 to 18, 19 years old, but we also do company training, we do upskilling of adults, young adults, we work with migrants, we work with unemployed people, with employed people, and we also do European projects. We have a dedicated office of 10 people that work full-time on projects. I won't tell you much about our international activities because today I wanted to prefer to focus more on the secondary school things that we do with migrants and refugees. First, I would like to mention that we have been awarded with the Certificate of Vocational Excellence by ETF in 2025, specifically on VET internationalization. And this year, a few weeks ago, we have been also admitted into the UNESCO UNEVOC network. So we became a UNESCO UNEVOC center, and we are very proud of it. Okay, let's keep the international networks. These are all the trainings that we do, but I don't think it's necessary to go very much in detail on our offer. What I would like to tell you today are more the practices on inclusion and safe learning spaces. I adopted this term from your project. I had a quick peep the last days, and I would like to tell you about three main practices that we do. They might be to be taken for granted for some of you, but what I wanted to say here is that these small practices have a real impact on someone's life, and it's beautiful to see that there is so much alignment between organizations that work in the migrant world and organizations that work in vocational education and training. I've been last year to the EU Migrant Forum in Brussels, and when I was there, I actually realized how much the two worlds should go along one to each other. So I'm very happy to have been invited here. So first best practice have a very boring name, is Modulo Uno, Module 1. We simply didn't find a better name yet. And it's the more directly addressed to migrants and refugees. So this is the first step pathway for who is just arrived in our territory, to include unoccupied minors. I will tell you more later. The second is Nuove Radici, new roots, and is more a network that we created to surround the migrants, students with disadvantages, and so on in our territory. The third is more of a peer support, an informal group called Gruppo Noi, where Noi stands for we, so it's a we support group to promote belonging and care among students. So let's start from Modulo Uno, Module 1. This is, as I said, the first access to education that we put in place since a couple of years. So we have this program where newly arrived migrants, also unaccompanied minors, can enter the education system even if they have no literacy in Italian or very, very limited. So the idea here is to have a double-handed pathway. On one side, they learn Italian up to A2 and math at the Provincial Center for Adult Education. And on the other side, we step in as Apo Formazione, as a training provider, and we provide hours of training. So we combine the basic competencies of Italian and language and math together with vocational orientation. 290 hours of training can be on soft skills, on guidance, but also citizenship education, hard training. For example, we do mainly in kitchen and gastronomy, in welders, and also some electricians, because these are the actual the typology of workforce that we are in need at the moment. But we can do also whatever, horticulture or vineyard culture, digital graphics, and so on. So what are the key main takeaways from here is that, as you said before, VET is not only about vocational skills. So vocational education and training is not only about training, but it is also the E of education. And so we wanted to stress this out, creating this bridge, and also this word has been used at the beginning, combining language, basic competencies, orientation, guidance, and so on. The project was funded by AMIF, and here you can see this group is from Bangladesh. They live in first reception center nearby. So we started to work together with this first reception center because most of the time they remain disconnected from the society. And in this way, we brought them back in society, doing practical work and learning Italian. And this is another group of welders on the left, while on the right, it was a day of a job speed date where we were putting them in contact with companies, because inside APRO there is also an employment service, and so we seek for job places for companies and for workers. So this is the end of the example number 1. Example number 2 is called Nuove Radici, New Roots, and this comes along with the idea of how it's called. Recently in the VET is very popular to talk about open schooling approach or territorial cooperation approach. So we finally realized that schools cannot stand alone, but they need to create a network in order to face the challenges that they have every day. And this is a specific network to build territorial inclusion. So here we started from the problem that migrant students have different barriers. Can be the language, can be the school-family communication, can be known or very limited knowledge of local services, can be the high risk of dropout that is almost always present for them. So we started to face this challenge, to resolve this challenge, not alone, but through a structured territorial network. And also before, someone of you reminded how it's important to connect intercultural mediators, social services, and so on. So it's very reassuring to see that. With this network that is called Nuove Radici, because it is a project, I will tell you about that later a little bit more. We connect schools with family, with intercultural mediators that are hired and they work in APRO Formazione on different classes. So this is the crucial news. So we have intercultural mediator now, and we work in a more close contact with social services and with the local institutions around a methodology that is at the beginning shared and decided together. So in this multi-stakeholder project, basically we support migrant learners with these intercultural mediators that works along with teachers and staff training. We do, with teachers and staff, we do staff training in order to make them more aware also on the typology of target. We do peer tutor activation and also these shared reception protocols that I mentioned. The project is small, I understand that, but we had 100 students involved with over 1,000 hours of intercultural mediation. We trained 20 peer tutors and we organized a few webinars. And what we actually see is the incredible effect that these cultural mediators had on very challenging classes, because teachers most of the time are in need of support with very, let's say, care-taking students. And this cultural mediator actually helped us. This, you can see the different actors of this stakeholder reunited into the last, let's say, celebration day, where we had the students from our school preparing a different of traditional dishes from different cultures. And here we had our main takeaways is, again, what I said, inclusion cannot be managed by school alone. So we need a whole network, a whole ecosystem that works together. This was funded by a local bank foundation for the 2 years in a row. And now we are looking for other type of funding to make it more, and also to scale up this method that is very pragmatic, but very also has been innovating for us. And we want to scale it up maybe with a European project. More picture again, the last day. Here you can see 2 of the cultural mediators that have been hired and still work in a Formazione. Here is one of the classroom that have been involved, and here are these 2 sweet ladies that were serving traditional tea, Moroccan tea. Third one is the NOI peer support group. This group is this type of intervention is a little bit more transversal, not particularly focused on migrants, but is a support group that we created more than 10 years ago, and that is growing regularly, and also in terms of participation, in terms of typology of activities that wanted to be exactly as you, some of you presented before, a safe space for vulnerable learners, where they can avoid isolation and conflict, and through these peer support activities, actually see the school not only a place where you come, you train, you have lessons, but actually a safe space where to participate in, where to receive and give care and feel belonging, sense of belonging. So now this group is about of 60 students. Then we have a core group that meets regularly and others that gravitate around it. We call it Gruppo Noi. And they act in different way. On one side, they are peer sentinels, so they try to see where conflict arise, if there are a form of isolation or of bullying in place, and they try to intervene with together with the counselors. But also they are good in identifying distress or other forms of exclusion. They organize. For example, during our I don't remember the name of the day, basically are days where the students become the organizer of the lessons and not vice versa. We kind of flip the whole school. During these days, NOI peer support group intervenes strongly, organizing workshops, organizing small events and activities, but also we developed initiatives such as book presentations, podcasts. So there is a podcast in Italian if you are interested by Gruppo Noi. A few minutes of registration are already available, and we try to exactly create this space of collaboration and supports. This is followed by few teachers that are also case manager, and the counselor that is a psychologist who works with us. So this is a project, another typological project. You can see here, this is the core group, very proud of their branded shirt. And what we understood by with this activity is that formal lessons are not.
We can't hear you, Federico.
We can hear you, Federico. You're muted.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Something might have. Okay, you can hear me now, right? Okay. So yeah. When students are actually empowered to use the school as a space for they're interested, for express care, but also for express themselves, this inclusion becomes something really part of the everyday life. NOI Peer Support Group has been initially founded by the Piedmont region a lot of years ago, and now we find a way to fund these activities with a K2 school education project called All In for Education. We are coordinator of that, and we try to bring and to finance also their activities with this project. On this right part, you can see this was the end-up meeting of a book presentation series. So here we are in the streets of Alba, closing the activity. And then I should have another yeah, here we have a peer session in the wilderness. So we go to simply to a closed park and we do different type of activities. And here a couple of shots from the podcast registration. It can seem this seems a room, but I assure you it's not. It's actually a huge closet that we emptied and we renovated as a podcast space. We are working on a proper lab for the next year, hopefully. So, and this is a bonus that I had at the really last minute while you were speaking, because I heard also the topic of housing, and housing in Alba is a big issue because we have many houses that are empty but not possible to rent, and this is happened because of prejudice, lack of trust, that usually keeps owners not opening their houses. So the migrants here, they come here, they train, they find a job, and still, even if they have a job, it's difficult for them to rent a house. So we participate in this project called Homeful, which basically created a methodology, in other words, a series of warranties, guarantees that are promised to the owners, thanks to the structure of the project, in order to let them open their house and rent their house again. So this, together with insurance coverage, small financial support, and 1 year of training. APRO is training to autonomy, training to have care of the spaces and so on. APRO is leader in these activities. We activated 10 homes. We helped 24 people to find house, and now we are working to again develop more and maybe to scale up this practical model to fight housing discrimination and also to build autonomy in tenants. I go towards the conclusion. I thought, okay, let's try to give some concrete takeaways that might be helpful for the listeners. And so I use this word again to create this bridge. Important to create a bridge for who newly arrives, and this must pass by language, basic competencies, but also practical workshop to give them this transition to the world of work. Network is another keyword. So connect that providers with education centers, intercultural mediators, social services, municipalities, association, and so on. Another key point here is empowerment. Again, let them become active actors together, working with peers, involving them in small events, activities very easy and very successful and satisfying, such as podcast, or you can create listening space or theater or a philosophy in action or whatever. So not only give them lesson time and practical activities. And last but not least, as you see, we try to give continuity and sustainability to activities. So we formalize practice, and once we have it, we try to make it regular, thanks to funding, thanks to collaboration with other stakeholders, and define the protocols. So I thank you for listening. I hope to have been clear and exhaustive. If you want to make me any kind of question, or if you want to get in contact with me, you can find my email address in the last slide. And I wanted to finish with this small sentence, because inclusion works when it becomes a mechanism that can be repeat itself. So continuity and embedment into the standard and ordinary activities. Thank you all.
Thank you also very much for this really insightful contribution from APRO Formazione. I believe that today's discussions clearly highlighted that a successful integration requires cooperation among all the sectors and educational providers and vet organizations can really be at the core of these initiatives and of these elements. To not delay this anymore, I will ask if there are any questions and answers, Q&A session actually, if there are any questions to our participants and to our keynote speakers, and I will share on the chat the evaluation form of our today webinar. It really is a 3-minute exercise, so and it helps us improve our content. So we please would like to, yes, thank you for your contact. If you would like to remain in touch with Mr. Tubiello from Approformazione, he has written his contact in the chat, and I'm putting right now our evaluation form. We will also share for with the registered participants. Just a minute. This is it, and thank you, all of you, for this really insightful workshop today. We really hope that we will stay connected and we will continue this work on inclusion together. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.